Hello, everybody.
That's my color here.
We are in Scottsdale, Arizona for a conference for work. And so we are here. We got here yesterday, and
Sorry, wrong
we
side.
are doing the live from Scottsdale. So we are actually in Mountain Time Zone. So that was pretty fun realizing we'd have to be up and fully ready for our team meeting at
Right.
7 a.m. and all of that. Good morning, Kara. But we are here. I'm glad I can see comments. We are going to be talking a little bit about ending 2022 very strong and then kicking off 2023. We are officially December 1st in our final month of 2022. So we are going to get going here in just a second. I'm going to let Laura kind of take over and we'll go from there.
Great. Well, you should have been able to download the PDF that we shared with you a couple of days ago. And I had a quiz on there and some prompts. Okay. So we would like to go over that PDF very quick. We're going to pull it up here so that we can follow along. And like I said, it was a Tuesday?
Yep.
It was. So you might want to go back and take that PDF up. So can you share the PDF with me, Liz, so that I can see?
Yeah, I just want to make sure that love both seeing you on the same screen instead of a split screen. Right? It's very different. Okay. So we had a few questions that we asked you at the beginning, and what we would love for you guys, especially those that don't have the PDF, but all of you, is to let us know in the comments your answer to these if you are comfortable sharing. Okay. We really love the feedback, and so we would love to hear from you guys. So let's go into that first question. And then Laura's going to kind of elaborate on these. So we asked if you have a poverty or prosperity mindset, and we are going to find out now. So true or false, empowerment drives me to control my own life. You want to talk a little bit on
Oh, I thought that you were waiting for them to answer.
No, I mean, they can answer, but they're so
Okay.
they're so long in between.
So, well, let's explain a little bit first what does it mean a poverty and prosperity mindset, right? A poverty mindset is limiting beliefs, really struggling with limiting beliefs. A prosperity mindset is where you see possibilities. It was kind of funny, actually. I was thinking, I saw an interview a few weeks ago, and I was with Robert Kiyosaki, the man that wrote Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Also, he's in real estate as well. And he was saying something about the different levels of how people follow financial advice, financial gurus, and he says that there are different levels of different people, right? So, for example, the ones that follow Susie Orman, they're in a poverty mindset. They're limited. They think they have to live on a budget and struggle for everything they do. The ones that follow David Ramsey, they're more into the middle income mindset. The middle income mindset is where, yeah, you have a good job, you're looking for careers, but you're not really looking for huge jumps and improvements. And then you have the people that follow the higher gurus like Robert Kiyosaki or other ones like him that are more on a prosperity mindset. Okay. So which level are you? Are you a follower? And there's nothing wrong with Susie Orman or David Ramsey, but who are you really? Who are you following? Are you seeing your life as full of possibilities? Are you seeing that you can break the ceiling in the next few months, in the next year, that you're going to get to another level? Or are you seeing yourself that you have to live on a budget and struggle and paycheck to paycheck, right? And save a little bit every month. So that's what it means. So, that's what we talked about that in the quiz. Now, going down, the next question is...
So the question was, empowerment drives me to control my own life. So true or false, ladies, what do you feel as of right now that it does for you? True or false?
Somebody said true there, Lori.
Yep, Lori said true. So go ahead and fill those out in there. The second one, I can see possibilities.
Right. Like I said, the possibilities are there. It's just that you have to open up to the possibilities. A lot of times we get stuck into, kind of an obsessive thoughts of saying, okay, how do I do this? How do I do that? Instead of thinking of what we do, right? We're here in Scottsdale right now, Arizona, and we're here for a conference over the next 3 days. And the conference we were invited to this conference to network. That's why you want to be around people that are like-minded. We're here at a conference of people that are 8-figure producers in different fields, from real estate. Dean Graziosi is going to be here. I'm sure some of you have heard of him. And other gurus in the financial world, coaches, all kinds of different people. But they're 8 figures, meaning they make more than $10 million plus a year. So you have to look at the possibilities, right? It is possible to make 8 figures. Trust me, we know a year. It's possible to even do 9 figures, right? Or 10. The possibilities are there, and you have to be around the right people. So open up yourself to the possibility, and it goes in steps. If you're sitting right now on a paycheck to paycheck making $5,000 a month, it's hard to think you could be making $500,000 a month, right? But it is possible. Are you open to those possibilities? Is it something you really believe? Can you wrap your mind around that? I want to answer that yes or no in the chat.
They are. They're saying true.
Yeah. Good. Okay.
So then the next one we have is I take responsibility.
And this is a huge one.
Yes.
For everybody, including us. At the end of the day, you have to take responsibility. With what is going on right now, people are saying, oh, we're going to have a recession. Things are going to happen. It's not a good time to get into real estate or anything. Really? Take responsibility, What can I see? What possibilities are there for me in real estate or any other venture in my life so that I can succeed regardless of what's going on out there in the world? I'm not going to let this situation, and I'm not going to let the reality condition. When COVID happened in 2020, Liz and I sat down and I said, no, we're not going to be taking, listening to anybody else saying that COVID is putting the world down on its feet. There are possibilities there. And I'm not saying that you should capitalize on chaos. I'm saying to you, just be open to possibility. Look at the glass half full, not half empty.
Definitely. Lori says this has been a hard one to learn. Responsibility is a work in progress for me. Yep, that is the biggest. If it is to be, it is up to me. This is my responsibility. You don't always have to see how this is going to work out for you, ladies. We do a lot of mindset work, and the biggest thing they say is don't worry on the how, just focus on the what. What are you trying to achieve? What are you trying to do? The how will fall into line. You may think that you're going to be financially free because of a few houses, but then you might end up getting into wholesaling or fix and flip or things like that bring you even more income. So it's not always about just what you're going to do, just focus on your end goal and let that how manifest the way it's supposed to. If you're wanting to reach $500,000, you can have a plan of what you think you're going to do on a monthly basis, $500,000. But at the end of the day, you might get a check or a reimbursement or an insurance reimbursement or something that helps you push towards that edge. It's not all going to be just focused on one thing. And so you really want to keep that in mind when you go forward with that, is not worrying about how it's going to happen. True or false, I have big dreams.
Well, that's something that I'm sure everybody here today has big dreams, right? You wouldn't be on this live if you didn't. You see the possibility, you see the dreams, but think big. And when you think big means, like Liz said, don't worry about the how, Somebody was asking, one of our coaches that we do, one of those people, that's why we're here today, but, we follow people that obviously are at the next level we want to be. And so they were asking us, so if we have this conversation a year from now, where do you see yourself being, right?
Yeah.
And I said to them, well, I have my personal dream is I want to live in one of the condos at the Ritz-Carlton on the beach that they're building right now. And so I said, that's where I want to be next year. So what is your dream, right? And don't worry about it. Okay, well, the condos are sold. Well, the ones I want are actually sold out, but I know something will open up. I'm not worried about it. So you have the dream, you have the vision. You feel it within you that is something that you can expect and is rightfully yours. Mm-hmm. So that's what a big dream has to feel like. Then everything is going to conspire to make that dream come true. Okay, so that's what you have to think about.
Yep. Moving into, I practice positive self-talk. So we have talked about this many times, and you guys know a lot. And is this true or false for you? Do you practice it? Do you talk to yourself in a good way? Do you put Post-its on your mirror like I do, that many of you started doing? Do you make sure you say affirmations to yourself daily? I have an app called I Am, and it sends me affirmations every hour. Do you have stuff like that that make sure to remind you to talk to yourself positively? Because it does matter what you think. It does matter what you think about yourself. I tell people, if you are nervous about anything, that's because you lack confidence in yourself. Because if you're not nervous, you have full trust in your abilities to do and to carry through with what you're doing. You wouldn't be nervous to cold call because you know and trust in yourself that you would be okay, no matter the outcome, that you would be able to help out. So it really comes down to confidence. And if you really have that confidence, so are you practicing that self-talk to where your doubts will start withering? I'm not saying you're never going to have a doubt ever again in your life, but it will stop limiting you from moving forward in your life and progressing, because your confidence will skyrocket. Yes, thanks to your suggestions, Liz, to put the give yourself credit sticky on my fridge. Yeah, Post-its all over my house. I am learning to talk to myself in a way that is positive. If I start hearing negatively in my self-talk, I'm learning to stop and talk positively. Yeah, turn it around. What Carrie's talking about is I know I say this a lot. I have Post-its around my house that say give yourself credit. I actually got this from a diet book. And every time you see this Post-it, whether you see it 5 times in 2 minutes or what have you, you stop and you say 3 positive things about yourself, right? So 3 things. So, I mean, sometimes it's like, I got up and I didn't kill my kids today, so that was a win. That was a win, like little things like that. But then it's like, I am smart. I am beautiful. I am confident in what I'm doing. I am successful. I walked the dogs today. I actually got outside. I cleaned up my house. I stuck to my to-dos. It could be little stuff. I brushed my hair. I took a shower today. Everyone has different struggles they're dealing with on a daily basis. It doesn't have to be these big things. But what the thing is you get used to talking to yourself and complimenting yourself every time you see this Post-it. I'm sure my ex thinks I'm crazy, but the house is full of Post-its and mirror messages. And that's what it has to be. Laura walked in and literally was scared to death because I had Post-its all over the house saying, don't touch this. You don't need to eat this. You're trying to lose your weight.
She was guilt tripping me. She had all this thing on the fridge. Don't do it.
You're not worth it.
Yeah. And I'm like, seriously?
She couldn't eat while she's at my house. But that's the kind of stuff you want to do.
Yeah.
I can afford it if I work hard enough.
Well, the reason I'm pausing on that one is because depends how you look at it, right? And it's not how hard you work, it's how smart you work. That's the thing. You have to look at the work, how you're going to do it. You can afford it. We look at affording, you can afford this if I work hard enough. Well, that's not necessarily true.
This was a trick question on this quiz, right, guys.
So it means that I can afford it regardless of how hard I work, but I have to work smart.
So you would want to circle false. It is not that. It is your consistency and dedication to your goals.
Right.
And I talk about this all the time. It's very much consistency. You don't have to work hard, but she's right. You have to work smart. When you sit down, make sure you're doing the things that get you to where you want to go. And so a few of my students on here, they can attest. I will call you out on a call and be like, you're not supposed to be doing it. Get back. You're spending too much time on that. You should be doing this. You should be doing this. This is what you should be doing. That stuff you do later. And I bring them back to their goals. And that is something that's important, is to work smarter, not harder, during those hours you dedicate to reaching your goals. But you also have to be consistent. It's every day. Every day. You don't take days off of mindset. Your mind doesn't shut off on Saturday and Sunday. You need to be consistent. And that is something that we do practice.
And one of the things I always say, and a lot of you have heard me saying, is that with real estate, the more money you make, the less you work.
Yeah.
Because in the beginning, you have to learn the process and you want to do some things yourself because you need to learn what to do. But then as your business expands, you delegate more and more. Mm-hmm. You have more help. You build a team, the stuff like that. You get into, actually with my coach, we were talking the other day again, and says, what does it take to get out the people that make 7 figures? How do you get to 8 figures? Okay. And there is actually something I'm going to share with you guys when you come on Monday night. We have a mindset call. I'm going to share with you. Some of it is mindset. Some of it is actually skills. What it takes to go from 7 figures to 8 figures. Okay. Do you know there are 6 things it takes into that? But I'm not going to share right now for time. But the thing is, you have a mental process. And what you realize is the more money you make, the less you work. You become more of a visionary. One of the things we were told a long time ago, when you get to the point of making 7, 8 figures, you have to get out of what they call the founder's role. The founder's role is when you start your own company, you start your own business, you start your real estate journey, right? You are in the founder's role. At some point in your journey, you're going to hit the ceiling. And to get out to the ceiling and into the next level, you have to break through that ceiling. And that's the 6 things we're going to talk about on Monday evening during the mindset call. You know, the success. I'm going to give you what I have a coach, he's a money coach. And we were talking about the success mindset, what takes you to break through into the next level for the money. And that's what we're going to share with you on Monday night. But the thing is, you have to get out to what the founder's role into another role, okay? And that's the key. And you're going to work less and make more.
Definitely. Moving into the next one, and then we're going to go ahead and start opening up for Ask Us Anything here, is I look to the future because I am not stuck in the past.
Future can be tomorrow, guys. It doesn't have to be next year or next month. It can be tomorrow. What you're doing today is a product of what you've done, everything up to right now. But from this moment on, you're going to create what you're going to do in the future. So look at it that way. Don't be stuck in the past.
And there are a few more questions, so go get that PDF. And then what you do at the end of it is you comment how many were true and how many were false for you. And then that's when you find out that what kind of mindset you actually do have and what you need to work on. And so one of the things we wanted to talk about real quick before the Ask Us Anything is how we are going to finish this year strong and go into 2023 even stronger. We have a lot of things coming up that help set them up with that, but I know you kind of wanted to cover a little bit about ending the year out.
Right. Well, I want to actually address one of the questions with Alisa because it also goes into what we're going to talk about now. Okay. So she says, how do we uncover our limiting beliefs that we're not yet aware of? And so there are 3 steps to this. Okay. First of all is awareness. Mm-hmm. And she says, okay, well, we're not aware of yet. Well, this is something very personal. So what you have to do is sit down and do what I call a brain dump. Really just put out on paper what are your fears are, what are your doubts are, what you feel is holding you back, anything, in your personal life, in your professional life, in anything you do, become aware. Write this down. Write by impulse. Don't overthink it. Just write it down. Maybe when you're fresh in the first thing in the morning, right before you start your day, just write this down. Awareness. The second thing you do is take a step back. Okay. Kind of see from a high point of view, read, acknowledge, recognize on that. Stress out about it even for 5 minutes. Okay. It's okay. Take a step back. And the third step you do is take inspired action. Okay. Now meditate, go for a walk. Open yourself up and ask a question. Ask to the higher power, God, the universe, whoever you believe. Ask for help. You're not alone in this. There is a higher part of yourself that you're connected with a higher energy. Ask for help. Okay, so what should I do next? Mm-hmm. Okay, what should I do next? And this is something I asked on my time. Last night at 3 a.m., I couldn't, because of the time, zone, I couldn't sleep. And I had a question in my mind. And I got my answer, right? And so the thing is, I had a question in my mind and I went on YouTube and I listened to a couple of podcasts. What I like to do is, and this is a good tip for everybody here, especially if you have limiting beliefs or other issues you're trying to deal with, go on YouTube and type in something, especially if it has to do with law of attraction or something like that, or if you follow some type of mindset coach. Type a question into their podcast and most likely there will be a video about that. And I watched 2-3 videos about something that I was asking myself in my mind, and all these 2-3 videos that I watched had kind of the same answer. So they helped me to really refocus and find my own answer inspired by that. And then take inspired action. That's the most important thing. Whatever inspired action is, maybe go through the training, maybe join a coaching so that you can get to the next level. A mindset coach, a real estate coach, whatever coach you need to get you to break through those limiting beliefs and get you to on the right path. Okay. Okay, great. Now, what's next?
How to end 2022.
How to end 2022? Basically, I told them. Awareness, take a step back, and take inspired action. So this is a time for you to sit down and be aware of everything that you have done, of where you want to be, of all your fears, of all your roadblocks, of all your obstacles, and everything. This is a time for you to journal. Okay, we are on a trip right now, and I just want to share with you, I have this is one of my journals. I never travel without my journal. This is another journals. I have all the color pens. So it's like I am there. And then also I'm reading a book again. It's called Tools of Titans, which is about, anything from athletes to celebrities and stuff like that, what made them successful. So this is a time for me to reframe everything, to become more aware of where I am, to celebrate the accomplishments for 2022. So you want to celebrate accomplishments, and then what are we going to do in 2023? And that's why, like the question I had from our coach the other day, and I said to him, I said, by the end of 2023, I want to be on a condo on the beach, right? So that's the thing you want to be aware of where you are so far, be thankful, acknowledge it, and then put your set, and then what is you going to take you to the inspired action to the 2023 is going to accomplish those goals. And then things will open up for you, but you have to be clear about it first and really want it.
So I would love your feedback on this while we go into the Ask Us Anything and our raffle winner. I'm not able to share my screen when we do a live via the Facebook and not Zoom. So if you want to see what the raffle prize is, it's this adorable box, but I can't share my screen, but it's in the post from today. So you guys can go check that out. And that is that's what they are going to win. Now, how do you win this raffle? Easy. Just comment throughout the week. It doesn't matter how many times you comment. Just comment as many times as you can, and you get an entry per comment. So, like, we have an assistant that goes through Thursday mornings, and she combs all of it, and she just marks down how many times you have commented. A certain person has commented. You get put in this wheel. She spins it. She sends it to me. And that's the winner. So today's winner I wish I could share my screen because the box is adorable.
It is. It has
a coffee mug. It's very wintry.
I know. It's what I was going to say.
We were honoring December.
It has honey in there, coffee mug. Chocolate. And that, what is it?
It looks like a blanket, and I can't see what's all the way in there, but
it's
a candle.
It's in the post that
it's in the group.
Yeah.
So you can check that out. So that winner is, we're so quiet today in the comments, ladies. Are we excited? Comment. We got so many of you. Comment. How you claim this is you have to email in within a week of the raffle to questions@realestateinvestingwomen.com. Amanda will put that into the chat here. Questions@realestateinvestingwomen.com, and we will need your name, phone number, email address, and physical address to send this box out. So this winner is, thanks, Lori. There we go, Kara, is Heather B. So congratulations, Heather. You are the winner of today's raffle. So we are super excited. Now, I'm sorry. You want to announce some upcoming events of how we're going to set them up strong? We came up to set you guys up strong for 2023. This entire month is dedicated to that. So all of our events, our mindset calls, our webinars, everything is dedicated solely to setting you guys up and finishing 2022 strong, right? We still have a whole month. The busiest day for closings is December 26th. Mm-hmm. Busiest days for closings are December 26th.
Through New Year's
Eve. So keep in mind that doesn't stop. Okay? So go ahead.
So, we are going to be in Atlanta, Georgia next week. So anyone here from Georgia or Alabama or anywhere within a driving distance, because when we did the event in New York, we had people coming in from Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, Virginia. So this is worth traveling for. We're going to be in Atlanta next Saturday for a few hours, and we would love to meet you in person. What is going to be a little different at the next event in Atlanta is that I'm going to, for the first time, talk about what 2023 is going to be about as far as real estate. Okay, so we're going to talk about things to look forward to. I'm doing a lot of research right now. I'm studying, and I'm very good at, over the years, I always valued saying, I kind of have my own crystal ball, whereas I seem to see in the future. Okay, so I want to share with you what's going on with 2023, things that are happening in real estate, what you need to look out for, what you need to adjust in your strategy. So this is going to be really, really good for you guys. So anybody, even if you have to drive, even if you're in Alabama, Carolinas, Florida, please come to there. We're going to have this, then we're going to go into training. I'm going to show you how to do everything virtually, from wholesaling to buy and hold and fix and flip. We're going to talk about that. We are going to have a manual for you to take away with all the notes from the event, just for this event. We also going to have food. So,
it's a necessity when you spend 4 hours.
Yeah. So we're going to have food and breaks in between. And also we're going to give you leads in the area of your choice. This is the same lead sources that we use. So unfortunately, we're not going to do this virtual. We're not going to have recorded or streamed. It's always going to be in person, because I believe that the energy in the room is much different when there is in-person interactions and we're there. So me and Liz, and we have Rachel. Some of you have talked to her. She's going to be there as well. So trying to make it, because it's really going to be a great event.
Yeah.
The other thing we have, if you cannot make it to in person in Atlanta, we do have a masterclass coming up. This is the last masterclass of this year, but also I think it's one of the most important masterclasses. Actually, it is the most important masterclass that we have. We're not having any other masterclasses until 2-3 months from now. So this is the first. This is really where you want to be, because this masterclass is going to give you the tools for 2023. I'm going to talk about things that are going to set you up for 2023 to be successful. Again, this is the last master class, and we don't even have anything scheduled.
Planned.
Yeah, for 2023, because we're actually doing a retreat in January. So we're going to be busy with that. And then we have our things. Actually, we're going to
know when the next master class is.
I know.
Did we put one down?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. At least for the first, I think 3 or 4 months, there's no master
because we're
class.
going to be gone. I personally plan to go to India and Nepal here in March, and then we have a conference in Tokyo. So I'm going to be gone a lot personally, so I can't commit to any master classes. But with that said, if you want to attend, they said, oh, well, I'll wait for the next one. No, this is it, guys. And this is going to be very important, because I'm actually going to share with you some of the stuff I was sharing in Atlanta at a live event on how to set the 2023, what to look for, how to change your strategy for next year. Okay.
Real quick, while she's announcing, just so we can get it in, you take fantastic trips. I know we try to. That's why we do real estate, so we can afford these crazy trips. But I did a dotted line. Any questions, we allow 1 question per person. You can start putting them in there. That way, while she finishes up in the delay on Facebook, we get those questions before we have to jump off and head to our stuff.
Right. Last but not least, somebody was asking about the book. This is the book here, Tools of Titans. Is the same guy that wrote the 4-Hour Workweek. There are 700 pages.
It's big.
But you don't have to read all of it. What you have to do, what I do, is on the front section, there is interviews that he did with all kinds of different people over the years. Okay, you see all the names here? There are 3-4 pages of names. And so scroll, go to your favorite person. See all the names there? Scroll, go to your favorite person, and then you read their biography. And what you're going to find out is everyone has some things in common. These people that are they've been celebrities or sports people or other politicians, all kinds of different people are in there. There is some common thread among all of them. So it's really interesting to see. So pick a handful of interviews. And
I actually ordered that book after you brought it up again last week.
I love it.
This week.
Yeah, I'm going through it again because it says the tactics, routines, and habits of billionaires, icons, and world-class performers. And that's what the thing you want to see. So that's why we are here in Scottsdale. I want to see what these people think about it in a different level, right? What takes them to have $100 million or more coming in every year. I want to get to that level. That's my next goal. So that's the thing, They only say to be millionaires is easy. Now to be a billionaire, that's the next step. So to become billionaire, what is going to take, right? So.
Okay. So any questions while we're on here? One per person, you guys.
And the last but not least, guys, we have the mindset call Monday night. Yeah. So Monday evening, don't miss the mindset call.
So if you want to see the mindset call, just comment mindset in all caps, and we will make sure that we get you that link to be able to join us on Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern. We are going to be talking a lot about more in depth with tools and tactics that we have talked about today, but way more in depth, way better.
I'm actually going to share with you something that I'm learning from my mindset coach for the money mindset coach that I'm going through. I'm going to share with you some of the tools and stuff and exercises that we're doing for me to break into the next level of money.
Definitely. So Amanda will reach out to you guys if you comment mindset. So I said, please make sure you comment mindset in there. She's going to reach out to you, make sure we get that taken care of. I don't see any questions coming in, which is going to be a first in a long time. There's no questions. You guys have no question. One question, anyone? Before we jump off? Now, the other thing is, I don't know who's watching. We are going to meet up with one of our students in Scottsdale while we are here. But if you are in Scottsdale and you would like to join us for that meeting, or Phoenix or Sedona, and you want to join us for that meeting, just PM me, and we will get you the information on that meeting. We are still kind of figuring out, we just got our schedule from the event. So now that we know that, we can start figuring out times to meet with the people that are local to us.
Yeah.
Because we're never on the West Coast. It's very rare. So it's great. Laura, when you were starting, what's the one mindset shift that had the most impact on your business?
Well, it's interesting because I really didn't have a mindset thing back then. But now looking back, I would say that, I didn't have any structured mindset. I didn't really believe in mindset of books. But I can tell you one thing that I had from the beginning is I'm very driven. I'm very focused and goal oriented. Always been.
Yeah.
I saw real estate as my ticket to whatever I wanted to do and accomplish, which it has been. And then I became basically obsessed by it. It was not a job. It was not something I would do 8 to 5. It was something that I did anytime I wanted. You
lived and breathed it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, back then, I was talking end of the 80s, beginning of the 90s. I was making calls as I was driving back and forth to school. I was something I did. I mean, I remember one time I was calling for these properties that I wanted to, I was trying to get listings as an agent in Hawaii. And this guy said, you do realize it's 9:30 at night. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I was just on the phone. I was making calls. I was goal oriented. I had to get so many listings, and I was very successful. From the first year, I was 23 years old. I bought a $500,000 house, driving a BMW convertible. I bought a boat, and I was only 23 in Hawaii. But I was very focused, obsessive, almost about the business, loved the business, and never thought of work. And very goal oriented.
But if you think about it, anyone that becomes successful loves what they do. They're not doing something they hate. Anyone that's a millionaire and billionaire, when you ask them about it, their eyes light up. They're passionate. We were on the plane. We were getting on the plane, and this guy was behind us, and he works with investors. He's talking commercial, and he's talking about issues with details, and I'm like, oh my God, it sounds like us on the daily basis with like assistants and stuff, right? Like he was having some issues, some webinar link, email went out the next day when it was supposed to go out 30 minutes before and all this stuff. Yeah. And we just kind of laughed and stuff. And then he sits in front of us. We're sitting up in the front of the plane, and he sits in front of us, and he's just working. But you could hear the passion in his voice, even though he was aggravated with what his people were doing. He was like, but this, and this, and we got to reach these goals, and we got this. And it was the mindset and everything. And he was super loud. So like everyone heard his goals for the year. And
I know. I turned around and I told Elizabeth, says, I bet it's going to be at the conference.
we're looking
going
for him
to.
tomorrow.
Yeah. So I said, I bet he's going to be there, number one, because he seemed like that type of person. And the other thing, I wasn't surprised he was sitting in first class with us, So that's the thing that you're going to, that type of people. All right.
Yeah.
And so and then on the plane, because we were sitting behind them there, I saw he was on the computer. He was actually working on something. So that type of, I was just snoozing off personally. We woke up at 3:45 a.m. So I was like sleeping. But the thing is, he was working on something. And that's the type of drive you have to have. So yeah.
And if you sit and look at people in first class, probably 80% of them have their laptops out. Like I had my iPad out, working on their business. They were doing things to get themselves farther. They weren't just sitting there enjoying life and some of us sleeping. They were like having their laptops and stuff. And so now,
although he had 8 mimosas.
He did have 8 mimosas, so he was still enjoying life very well.
He's drinking mimosas, and she said, well, it is morning. I said, yeah, that's true. That's kind of a brunch drink, right? But yeah, anyway.
Yeah, she said, now you have to update us and tell us. I will. I'll let you know. He was very cute, but sadly married. So, but he was they were working. And I looked around at the rest of the people as I got up to go to the bathroom.
I was sleeping with my mouth open.
Yeah, but they were working, and they were working on their business, and they were reading, or they were doing something that always puts themselves forward, and that's what separates them from the rest. And that's what will separate you from the rest, is constantly working on yourself and what you're doing.
The only thing I would say is, because we do take personal responsibility as overachievers, we do, but also don't be hard on yourself.
We have one more question then we have to
because I'm always very hard on myself.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things. I expect a lot. I'm competing with myself. I'm not competing with everybody else. Mm-hmm. But at the same token, be careful not being too hard on yourself.
We're going to take this last question, then we actually have to jump off and go. Juliana's asking, do you think men take advantage of women investors when they are really new? I think it's a mindset.
Yeah, I think it is. One of the things I always say, I started back in the 80s in real estate, as a woman from another country, barely speaking English. So, I had all kinds of disadvantages. And I never saw men as hindrance. If anything, the old saying, keep your friends closer, but your enemies closer. The thing I did with men, like we're going to a conference right now, okay?
And I'm gonna be all
there are no women there. I pay
no women speakers.
Yeah.
Women
I'm
speakers.
hoping there are women in the room, but there are no women speakers. There are like 12 different men, and they're all men speakers. But anyway, and a lot of them in the real estate.
But do you remember what I said about that? Because she said, well, there's no men. And I said, that's fine. We'll reach 8 figures and we'll be the women speakers at the event.
Right.
We didn't think, it was just a natural thing for me to say that. I didn't think, oh, well, I have to worry about it. When you worry about it, you're going to attract it. You're going to attract men that think you're nothing compared to them. Whereas if you walk into this room and you own this room, any woman investor that has made it says they never worried about what the men thought. They never worried what men treated them or took advantage of them. It's a mindset. It's all mindset. Walk in like you own it, and you won't have an issue.
And I always did. In real estate, I never thought, even when, now it's different, but even the time when it was hard for women, I never thought, oh, I'm a woman, I'm going to be different. Yeah, of course, they try to act different with you, but use that to your advantage, because you are a woman. And they don't understand some of the way we are. We are more calculating in some ways, we are nicer, we are friendlier. Like I had an art gallery, and I remember inviting all these men that I used to meet at the real estate auctions and my art gallery for gallery openings. I said, hey, I would meet them at the auction. I have a gallery open on Friday, come over. And there's going to be food and drinks. And I come over and made friends with them, right? I made them friends. So then when I go to the auctions, I was like, hey, how you doing? Yeah, it was a great show, right? Oh, yeah, you're buying this property? Yeah, let me buy it, that type of thing. So you make friends with them. Okay, so use that to your advantage. Don't see that as an obstacle. That's what I've always done, and I never had any competition. If anything, they actually helped me to move to the next level.
You also get really annoyed by them anyway. It doesn't matter. It's like a pissing contest every time you're in a room with a bunch of successful men.
But that's the thing I was telling Elizabeth tomorrow. I said, we're going to have a lot of ego trips here that we're dealing with, And that's the thing, that men that reach a certain level, they have a huge ego. But I
And
think
that's-
that's kind of cute.
It's
But,
cute.
yeah, yeah.
But that's when you walk in and you just dominate. Women have the power.
Right.
And I hate to say it, men don't have the power like women do. They don't. You walk into a room, men aren't turning heads.
Right.
Women do. They turn other women's heads. Women have this confidence to them and this power to them to manipulate an entire room of people. And so use that to your advantage as well. Do not come in worried that you're new. We are probably going to be one of the lower end of the people that money-wise, right, that makes. We're not in the billions yet. Yet. We're getting there. And so for us, that's not a worry for us, though, that we're going to be around all these. We're looking forward to it. We can't wait to show up. We can't wait to meet these people. That's how you need to be. You need to be excited to meet the people that are already doing what you want
Right.
to do.
You want to meet people that are the next level, right?
Mm-hmm.
For the same reason that you want to hire coaches that already accomplished. Tony Robbins said, you want to learn what to do, affiliate yourself with somebody already done it,
Yeah.
and just repeat the process.
Yeah.
So, we are into the next level. We want to be with the people the next level because that's how we're going to learn to go to the next level.
Mhm.
So that's why we say, as far as you wanting to get into real estate, start with real estate, go with people already succeeded.
And don't worry
Like
about
us. And then we take you to that.
We
And
were
then-
all new.
Yep.
We were all new
Yeah.
at one point. You
So-
know, we all didn't know the answers. We all didn't have the next steps. Nothing like that. You have to be okay and not scared of being new and be to learn. And then you're going to look back one day and be like, I remember when I was scared of this. I remember when I couldn't understand what a double closing was or underwater mortgage or something like that. Okay. You're going to be at a point where you realize that and you're like, wow, I've grown so much. But we were all beginners at something, even having kids. You were a new mom at some point that had to just fucking learn. You just had to learn how to do it. And single moms like me, we just had to learn how to do everything on our own, right? We didn't have help. You just learn. You're new at everything at one point, and then you got good at it, and then you got better at it, and then you became a perfectionist at it. And that's all good. We have to get going, though. We really got to get going, though. We have to leave in 2 minutes. Thank you for all of you that stayed on. Congratulations, Heather, on your raffle winnings. I hope that this was helpful for you. If you do want to come to the mindset call on Monday, imagine this on steroids. That will be Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Come and see us in Atlanta. If you are in Atlanta, just take a few hours of your day. Come and see us or join us on our next 5-day class. Either or, they're going to be phenomenal. Let's end this year strong.
And I will share with you Monday night, guys, about what we learned this weekend.
Yeah.
From these billionaires. So I will share with you some of the big takeaways so that you can implement them in your business.
Even better. All right. Bye,
Okay.
everybody. Have
Have a
good
great
week.
weekend. Bye.